Welcome to today's Explainer. We are going to connect the dots across today's Wall Street Journal to see how massive macro forces are creating entirely unexpected ripple effects in our world right now. It's like a giant puzzle. We're looking at a system full of friction, where unprecedented political power, staggering economic realities, and lightning-fast technological shifts are all crashing into one another.
Here's what we'll be covering today. First, unprecedented political power plays. Second, the global debt binge. Third, the growing AI rebellion. And finally, emerging tech and trends. Section 1. Unprecedented political power plays. Let's dive right into some explosive political news surrounding the president and how political capital is being wielded in Washington today. Okay, so the stakes here are absolutely massive, and they're highlighted by a completely unprecedented agreement. According to a newly posted Justice Department document, the federal government has agreed to end all pending tax audits of President Trump and his businesses. The pact, which was signed by Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche, actually states the government is forever barred and precluded from pursuing certain claims on filed returns. It expands on a settlement ending the president's lawsuit against the IRS over a tax return leak. This is a historically unique blending of personal and governmental interests where a president is shielded from standard tax enforcement.
But it's not just the tax deal, right? We are seeing a massive, literal flexing of political muscle to reshape the landscape. Down in Texas, the president threw a total 11th-hour curveball by endorsing challenger Ken Paxton over longstanding incumbent Senator John Cornyn. Meanwhile, over in Kentucky, a Trump-backed candidate named Ed Galrin successfully unseated Republican Representative Thomas Massie. Massie had frustrated the president by voting against his tax bill and pushing for the release of the Jeffrey Epstein files. This is a clear, undeniable demonstration of power, rewarding loyalty and actively reshaping the party's future.
Now, what is super interesting here is how that political capital is lining up with, well, literal capital. The president's money managers have been incredibly active. We're talking over 3,700 trades in just the first quarter of the year alone. For context, the Trump Organization maintains that these investments are independently managed by several financial institutions, with absolutely no advance notice or input from the president himself.
But here's where it gets wild. The Wall Street Journal reports that these independently managed trades perfectly, and I mean fascinatingly timed with major policy shifts. For example, the accounts purchased at least $1.75 million in NVIDIA stock right before the administration cleared the way for NVIDIA to send its AI chips to China. On the flip side, they unloaded at least $5 million in Microsoft shortly after the president demanded they manage data center utility costs. It is this incredible intersection of market movement and executive action.
But, there's still friction in Washington. Power isn't moving entirely unchecked. The Senate just advanced to measure 50-47 to limit the president's war powers in Iran without congressional approval. And notably, this actually gained support from Republicans like Senator Bill Cassidy. It really indicates that concerns over overseas conflicts are causing some lawmakers to break ranks and demand more clarity and oversight.
Section 2. The global debt binge. Let's look at how the friction we're seeing in politics mirrors the immense pressure building in the global economy.
100%. Let that sink in for a second. In the U.S., federal debt held by the public has just climbed above 100% of the country's gross domestic product for the first time since the aftermath of World War II. Think about that. The government basically owes more than the entire economic output of the country for a given year.
And actually, it's not just an American problem, it's a global debt binge. Advanced economies across the board are seeing their debt ratios completely skyrocket, with countries like the US, France, and Belgium heavily elevated. And these figures, they are projected to just keep rising, creating a massive, massive pile of government debt worldwide.
So what does this all mean? Well, this debt accumulation has real-world consequences. Why are borrowing costs rising? We've got a war-fueled surge in energy prices, aging populations globally that require more government resources, and immense pressure to increase military spending. Because of all this, tumbling bond prices are pushing yields higher. And why this matters to you is that it lifts borrowing costs for everyone, governments, businesses, and consumers alike. It's economic friction that literally slows down growth and hits your wallet.
Moving on to Section 3, the growing AI rebellion. This economic anxiety sets a perfect stage to look at the immense friction surrounding the biggest technological leap of our time, artificial intelligence. People's negative feelings about AI are growing at breakneck speed. Actually, scratch that. We're well past the whole sci-fi paranoia phase. The public is souring because of tangible, everyday issues.
They resent soaring energy bills that are being directly exacerbated by massive power-hungry AI data centers. Workers are genuinely fearful of widespread job losses, especially with high-profile corporate layoffs attributed directly to AI. And parents are deeply worried about what this tech means for education and their kids' mental health.
The pushback is incredibly real, and it is halting progress. 20. That is the record number of hyperscale data center projects that were completely canceled in just the first quarter of this year. Why? Fierce local backlash. Communities are pushing back hard against the strain on their power grids and the environmental impact, which is leading politicians in states from Texas to South Carolina to propose outright bans or moratoriums on new data centers.
And tragically, this rebellion is getting alarmingly real. It's actually escalating into violence. A 20-year-old Texas man allegedly threw a Molotov cocktail at OpenAI CEO Sam Altman's home. In Indianapolis, someone fired 13 shots at the front door of a councilman who had just approved a new data center. No way around it. It is a shocking indicator that the public's patience with the tech industry's grand promises is wearing dangerously thin.
Okay, Section 4, Emerging Tech and Trends. As we pivot to our final segment, we really need to look at the flip side of the coin regarding these massive innovations and explore some surprising ways new trends are manifesting.
With all this anger, anxiety, and quite frankly, literal violence over data centers, we have to ask a big question. Are there unintended positive consequences emerging from this very same technology? Can AI actually be used to save lives in the real world right now?
To answer that, let's head out to the San Francisco Bay. Over the past decade, gray whale populations have plunged by about half, down to just 26,000. These whales are so famished they're wandering into incredibly busy shipping lanes looking for food. The tragic result? At least 7 whales are dead so far this year, following 21 fatal collisions in 2025 alone.
So to stop this maritime tragedy, researchers at the Marine Mammal Center and UC Santa Barbara are deploying an absolutely fascinating solution. They're using thermal cameras powered by artificial intelligence to scan the water, detect the warm breath of the whales when they surface, and instantly alert nearby Coast Guard and boat captains. It is essentially an AI-powered safety net that researchers say will undoubtedly save whales' lives by giving ships the crucial seconds they need to alter course.
And hey, speaking of completely unexpected trends born from modern culture, let's wrap things up with a massive cultural shift happening right under our noses: the absolute explosion of nicotine pouches, most notably the brand Zyn.
The growth here is just staggering. Driven by social media personalities dubbed Zynfluencers, gamers, and middle-aged men, these tobacco-free pouches have completely taken over the oral tobacco market. They jumped from a mere 4% market share in 2019 to 44% in just 5 years. Philip Morris International reported their nicotine pouch business grew by an incredible 36% in 2025 alone.
Now, what makes this whole thing so fascinating is the absolute friction between public health guidance and Washington's embrace. Public health experts are sounding the alarm, warning that while safer than smoking, these pouches still pose cardiovascular risks, severe addiction, and danger to teen brain development. Yet the product has found massive, very public support in Washington. Following a lunch between President Trump and tobacco executives, the FDA recently allowed more of these pouches to be marketed. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has endorsed them as the safest way to consume nicotine, and reports say government offices are literally running on boxes of them. It's a vivid collision of consumer health, corporate lobbying, and political culture.
From presidential tax audits altering political norms, to AI sparking public backlash while simultaneously saving whales in the Pacific, right down to the Zyn craze taking over the White House, it's clear everything is deeply connected. We are living in a highly sensitive system, where a policy shift or a tech breakthrough creates friction that reaches all the way to your local community. So I'm going to leave you with this. As politics, economics, and technology rapidly collide, where will the next friction point emerge in your daily life? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep your eyes open for the unexpected.